What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,176 just yesterday, and another member who won $288 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Anthony Bogan R6F who said great content, and shout out to Brian Adams 2794 who spammed up the 100 emoji. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Ezi Magbegor, and this one is for 6.5 rebounds, and this one is for less. Now looking at Ezi, we actually have seen her go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on July 4th, faced off against Atlanta, actually had 2 rebounds there. July 7th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 5 rebounds. Then July 10th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 6 rebounds. Then July 12th, faced off against Connecticut, had 4 rebounds, and 7 rebounds against Washington on July 14th. So we definitely have seen Ezi go on the under quite consistently over the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 4.8, while her line is 6.5, so significantly below this line. Now looking at Seattle Storm and this matchup, we do actually see that Seattle face off against none other than Golden State Valkyries. Now it's definitely going to be a big game here, but looking at this matchup, we do actually see that Seattle Storm and also Golden State Valkyries, looking at where both of them rank. Starting off with Storm, we see that they actually rank 4th in the WNBA with a record of 13 wins and 9 losses. That's a 59.1% win percentage. Also are on 7-4 from home, 6-5 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now they do rank 4th in the WNBA, but they also rank 3rd in the Western Conference to be more specific, and they face off against Golden State Valkyries, as we've mentioned. Now Golden State Valkyries do rank 8th in the WNBA. They have a record of 10 wins and 11 losses, 47.6% win percentage. They are 7-4 from home, 3-7 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. But on top of that, they still do rank 4th in the Western Conference, so one just below Seattle Storm. Now looking at Golden State Valkyries and where they do rank, we do actually see that Golden State Valkyries do rank 7th when it comes to rebounds allowed. However, when we look at this matchup, a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look on a per position basis, we actually do see that Golden State Valkyries actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the big man, or in this case, big woman position. So when it comes to that bigs, whether it's forward or center, Golden State Valkyries actually do a fantastic job against rebounds. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at this matchup even more in depth, we also do know that Ezi has definitely struggled from the rebounding categories, and that's a big reason why we still do like the under. We are expecting her low usage rate that she has experienced over the last couple of games. We definitely see that cold streak kind of continuing. So for that reason, we definitely keep an eye out for the under. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So for that reason, Ezi Magbegor 6.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Alyssa Thomas. So Alyssa Thomas, great player, and this one is a fantastic one for actually points, for 15.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Alyssa Thomas, we actually have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those last 5 games, we see, June 30th faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had 16 points there. July 4th faced off against Dallas, had 9 points. Then July 8th faced off against Dallas, had 15 points. July 10th faced off against Minnesota, had 29 points. July 15th faced off against Golden State Valkyries and had 17 points. So it's definitely been interesting because we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 17.2. So it is slightly above this line, but you do also have to remember that she did have a massive outlier game against Minnesota Lynx. And that's who they actually face off against in this next one. We do actually see Phoenix face off against Minnesota Lynx, and looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Phoenix Mercury, we see that they rank second in the WNBA with a record of 15 wins and 6 losses. They have a 71.4% win percentage. On top of that, they are 9-3 from home, 6-3 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. Now they face off against Minnesota Lynx, as we mentioned. Now Phoenix Mercury do rank second in the WNBA, but also rank second in the Western Conference. But they face off in the Western Conference against Minnesota Lynx, who are the #1 team. Now Minnesota Lynx do have the #1 record, but on top of that, they also have the #1 spot in the Western Conference with a record of 19 wins and 4 losses. That's an 82.6% win percentage. They are 11-0 at home, 8-4 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also see that looking at, where Minnesota Lynx do actually rank points-wise, we do know that Minnesota Lynx do rank first when it comes to points allowed. So that's a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here. Now, obviously, we did see in a most recent game that, Alyssa Thomas did actually, have herself quite a great matchup against Minnesota Lynx, and it definitely did affect her greatly. Now, when we mean an effect, I mean in a good way, because she actually had 29 points. Now, coming into this next one, however, although she did go on the over in that game, we do believe that this line now is a little bit overinflated. We do believe that there are going to be times where players beat their, probabilities and they beat their odds. And we definitely saw that in that Minnesota Lynx game where she had 29 points. Now, the line is overinflated. We are expecting Minnesota to make some adjustments and cause her to go on the under as much as they can in this next game. And that's a big reason why we do like the under for this one. So we do believe that 29-point game has overinflated this way too much, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. Now, when we look at Minnesota Lynx, what they do a very good job at, and one of the big reasons why they, do rank very well in points when it comes to ranking that #1 spot, is due to the fact that when you look at Minnesota Lynx, we actually do see that they do a fantastic job at slowing down faster paced teams. And we are expecting that to happen in this game. We are expecting Alyssa Thomas to come out in this matchup and try to play as best as she can, but Minnesota Lynx will try to slow down the pace. And as we all know, slow pace equals less volume. Less volume means, more opportunity to actually go on the under here. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this situation here. So Alyssa Thomas, 15.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Kamilla Cardoso. Now, as you all know, Kamilla Cardoso, great player, and this one is for 9.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Kamilla, we actually have seen her go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we do see that she's faced off against some pretty intense teams. Faced off against on June 23rd against Atlanta Dream, had 5 rebounds there. After that, had 7 rebounds against LA Sparks on the 25th. Then July 10th, faced off against Dallas Wings, had 4 rebounds in that matchup. July 13th, faced off against Minnesota, had 15 rebounds. Then July 15th, faced off against Minnesota, had 6 rebounds there. So we actually have seen her go on the under, 4 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 7.4, so significantly on the under. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know Chicago Sky face off against Atlanta Dream, and looking at where both these teams do rank, starting off with Chicago Sky, we do know that they rank 11th in the WNBA. They have a record of 7 wins and also 14 losses. That's a 33.3% win percentage. They are 4-5 from home, 3-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, looking at the other side of things, we also do see, we actually see that their matchup, Atlanta Dream are in the same conference. They do actually rank 5th in the WNBA, but also have a record where they are actually ranked 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So they have a record of 12 wins and 9 losses. That's a 57.1% win percentage. They're 8-3 at home, 4-6 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it's definitely been interesting there. Now, looking at Kamilla Cardoso, we actually do very much like, the under for this situation here, because when we look at Atlanta Dream, we actually do see that Atlanta Dream do rank 2nd when it comes to rebounds allowed. So Atlanta Dream are a great and fantastic rebounding team, and we are expecting that to have a huge effect on someone like Kamilla coming into this matchup. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well, but this one is just kind of a no-brainer to us. You know, she has done very poor when it comes to rebounds as of lately. Atlanta do a great job at defending it, and for both those reasons together, we definitely see it for a recipe for success to see her go on the under once again. So Kamilla Cardoso, 9.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Alright, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Brittney Griner. Now, Brittney Griner is a great player for none other than Atlanta Dream. And when it comes to Brittney Griner, we have actually seen her do a fantastic job averaging 10 points, 5.8 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and 0.1 steals. So she definitely has done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at Atlanta Dream and Brittney Griner, we see them have themselves a very good matchup against Chicago Sky. Now, it's definitely going to be an exciting game, but looking at actually, you know, Brittney Griner, Atlanta Dream, and also their matchup Chicago Sky, we do actually see, starting off with Atlanta, when it comes to rankings, we do actually see them rank 5th in the WNBA, but also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So they have a pretty decent record there. Now, on top of that, they also have a record of 12 wins and 9 losses. That's a 57.1% win percentage. They're 8-3 from home, 4-6 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. Now, on the other side of things, we see them face off against Chicago Sky, and Chicago Sky do have, you know, a pretty poor record as they have 7 wins and 14 losses. So they have a 33.3% win percentage. They also have a 4-5 record from home, 3-9 record from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So coming into this matchup, we do very much see that, you know, Chicago is unfortunately the worst team in this matchup. And looking at this more closely, we do know when it comes to this matchup, looking at Brittney Griner and Atlanta Dream facing off Chicago, we do see Chicago Sky ranked 10th when it comes to points allowed, 10th when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, we see that they rank 5th. So they rank a little bit better in that rebounding category. However, when we look at Brittney Griner, we do actually very much like the over for this situation here for all 3 departments. Now, a big reason being is that when it comes to Brittney Griner, she does have a decent usage rate in all 3 departments, definitely a little bit more in points and rebounds. Now, although Sky do rank pretty high when it comes to restricting rebounds, what we also do see is that when it comes to Brittney, she is a center, and Chicago Sky actually do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. So for that reason, we do very much like, you know, the over for this situation here for someone like Brittney Griner. We definitely see her being able to take advantage of it and going on the over in this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for this. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under her averages. Now, looking at the last 5 games, you see on the 30th, faced off against New York Liberty, had a 90-81 victory. Now, in that matchup, she actually had 14 points, 4 rebounds, and also 3 assists there. So that was interesting to see. On top of that, we saw her face off against Seattle Storm with an 80-79 loss with 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. After that, face off against Golden State Valkyries with a 90-81 win with 11 points, 5 rebounds, 0 assists there. After that, face off against Indiana Fever with a 99-82 loss with 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then New York Liberty had a 79-72 loss with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it's definitely been pretty interesting. Now, looking at Brittney Griner and also, you know, her last 5, we definitely have seen her at times be able to go on the over against easier teams, and other matchups we haven't really seen her be able to do too well. So, you know, I think matchups, that's what's most important. With a matchup like this, we do very much still like the over for this situation here. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Brittney Griner's line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially the line is under her averages. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Bridget Carleton. So as you all know, Bridget Carleton, great player, as we all know, for none other than Minnesota Lynx. Now, she's done a fantastic job so far this season as well, averaging 6.7 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and also 1 steal. So she's definitely done a big job there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know Minnesota Lynx have themselves a very good matchup against Phoenix Mercury. And looking at where both of these teams do actually rank, not only is it going to be an exciting game, but it's definitely going to be a game against some top teams, because we do see that Minnesota Lynx do actually rank first in the WNBA and also have the #1 spot in the Western Conference. There are 19 wins and 4 losses, an 82.6% win percentage. They're 11-0 from home, 8-4 and away, and also are currently on a 1-game win streak. Now they face off against Phoenix Mercury, and as we mentioned before, when we look at Phoenix Mercury, we do actually see that Phoenix ranks second in the WNBA and also second in the Western Conference. So it's definitely been a very, very, I would say intense matchup between both of these teams, as it is one and the second. Now, looking at this matchup, we do very, very much like this situation here when it comes to Bridget Carleton, because looking first at, where Phoenix do rank, we do see that Phoenix Mercury rank 5th in points allowed. They also do rank 7th in assists allowed and then rebounds allowed. We also do see that, they rank pretty, I would say pretty worse in that, as they do rank 10th. So a little bit interesting there. They rank pretty mid-tier in all 3 categories, especially due to the fact that Phoenix Mercury are actually second. I think a lot of people were expecting a little bit better, from them defensively, but we have definitely seen them struggle. However, coming into this matchup, we do see someone like Bridget being able to take advantage of this and go on the over here. However, when it comes to Bridget Carleton, I definitely would focus a little bit more on points and rebounds coming into this matchup. Now, a big reason being is that when it comes to Bridget, she definitely does have a higher usage rate in both of those departments. And we tend to also see when it comes to her usage rate in points and rebounds, it tends to be a little bit more intentional than when it comes to assist. Bridget is a forward, and as we all know, as a forward, you get rebounds, you get points. But when it comes to Bridget and her play style, we don't really see her getting that many assists, as I do believe her assist category is definitely very situational. It really depends what the defense gives her, but I think she definitely continues to seek as many points as possible and as many rebounds as possible. So coming into this next game, we do very much like the over for this situation, but strictly for points and rebounds. Now, looking at the last 5 games, they have faced off against Chicago quite a few times, but just to look at it real quick, the most recent matchup to the last 5, we do see on the 7th faced off against Chicago had an 80-75 victory with 0 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then faced off against Phoenix Mercury on the 10th, had a 79-71 loss with 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists there. After that, faced off against LA Sparks with a 91-82 victory with 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. Then faced off against Chicago with an 87-81 loss with 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then faced off against Chicago with a 91-78 win with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So it's definitely been interesting to see how that has played out. But coming into this next game, we do very much like this situation, because looking at someone, like Bridget Carleton, we do very, very much still do like the over for this situation. Now, we have actually seen them face off recently against Phoenix Mercury. Now, in that matchup, we did actually see her go over on her points, but under on her rebounds. Now, like I always mentioned, it is always going to be, or follow the actual probability at times. We did see her do well in the points. Rebounds, she did slightly go on the under, but we are expecting in this next matchup for her to make adjustments and finally be able to go on the over in that points and rebounding category. So definitely keep an eye out for it. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially the line is under her averages. Now, getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Monique Billings. So Monique Billings, great player from none other than Golden State Valkyries. Now, she's done a fantastic job so far this season, actually averaging 8.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, 0.5 assists, and also 0.7 steals. So she's done a great job there. And when it comes to the Golden State Valkyries, they do have themselves a very interesting game because they face off against Seattle Storm. Now, Seattle Storm is going to be a big matchup. And looking at where both of these teams do land, we do actually see that starting off with Golden State Valkyries, we see that the Valkyries do have a spot of 8th in the actual WNBA. They also have a record of 10 wins and 11 losses. And on top of that, they have a 47.6% win percentage. So they are 7-4 from home, 3-7 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. Now, on top of that, we also do see that they face off against Seattle Storm, as we've mentioned. They have a record of 13 wins and 9 losses. They have a 59.1% win percentage and are 7-4 from home, 6-5 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, on the other side of things, we also do see, when we look defensively, we do actually see that Seattle Storm defensively do actually rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed, 4th when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also see that they rank 11th. So, although Seattle Storm are a pretty decent team, we actually do see, that they do rank pretty poorly in all 3 categories. Now, for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Monique Billings. Now, we are expecting, her to definitely be able to go on the over due to the fact that when you look more closely, we do actually see that Monique Billings is also, or has also, a great usage rate in the points and rebounding department. Now, definitely, we have seen her play a pretty big role at times, and she's definitely shown that she's very consistent at getting close to this line. Now, coming into this next matchup, we do see that they face off against Storm, but looking at some of her past matchups, we saw her face off against Minnesota, had an 82-71 loss, had 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off against Atlanta Dream with a 90-81 loss with 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. After that, we also see her face off against Indiana, had a 80-61 victory with 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then against Las Vegas Aces, had a 104-102 loss with 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists. And then against Phoenix, had a 78-77 loss with 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist. So we definitely have seen Monique at times do very well, and against, tougher teams do pretty poorly. So I think coming into this next one, the fact that she does face off against Seattle Storm team, who are good, but do rank very poor at, restricting points, rebounds, and assists. Obviously they do a little bit better in points and assists, but they do a pretty poor job at restricting that to the forward position. That's a big sign to us on why we do still like the over for this one. So, sorry I forgot to mention that a little bit earlier, but yes, it is when you look at a per position basis, although Seattle Storm do rank a little bit higher in that points and assists, when you look at a per position to her position, which is a forward, we actually have seen, Seattle Storm really struggle against forwards. So for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the over for this one. So keep an eye out for her line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under her averages. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Natasha Cloud. Now, we all know how great Natasha Cloud has been for New York Liberty. She has been playing great, actually averaging 9.6 points, 3.6 rebounds, 6.1 assists, and also 1.4 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. And when we look at New York Liberty, we do see that they face off against Indiana Fever. Now, looking at both of these teams, starting off with New York Liberty, we do see that they rank actually 3rd in the WNBA, with a record of 14 wins and 6 losses. That's a 9-2 record from home, 5-4 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. But you also have to remember that, they still do rank 1st in the Eastern Conference. So, that's pretty interesting to see there. And they face off against Indiana Fever, who have a record of 12 wins and 10 losses. They rank 6th in the WNBA, have a 54.5% win percentage, are 7-6 at home, 5-4 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So looking at this one, we do very much like this situation here, because looking at Indiana Fever, we do see that they actually rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank when it comes to assists allowed, they rank 1st, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 1st as well. Now, coming into this matchup, we do actually like the under for Natasha Cloud, but strictly just for rebounds and assists. And this one's kind of a no-brainer due to the fact that Indiana Fever do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds and assists. assist, we definitely see that affecting, someone like Natasha Cloud greatly. Now, looking at our last 5 games, you saw her face off against Phoenix. Mercury recently had a 106-91 loss, actually had 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. Then faced off against Atlanta Dream with a 90-81 loss with 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists there. Then faced off against LA Sparks with an 89-79 victory with 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. Then faced off against Seattle Storm with a 79-70 loss with 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then against Atlanta Dream had a 79-72 victory with 2 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists there. So, we definitely have seen Natasha Cloud do great at times. Other times hasn't really done too well, especially against tougher teams, and that's what we are expecting with this next matchup against Indiana Fever.